As you can see, I still can't be bothered doing the full video setup, so we're doing it this way again, but I am finally going to work my way through the rest of the Mecha Invasion Constructicons. Because I actually do have the rest of the set, and now you get to see more Astrid, because she's in a mood. So we're still going to look at them in batches of 2, so today we're looking at these 2, next time we're going to be looking at the other 2, and then finally, to round everything off, we're going to look at the entire team for the combined mode. I hope you all understand that because of that and because of the complexity involved with the remaining transformations, I'm not going to do the combined mode transformations in these videos. I'm going to save them all for the last video when we go into the combined mode. With that out of the way, today we're taking a look at Mecha Invasion, Craner, and Tipper. Those are the names they gave them. I'm going to call them Hook and Longhaul because I just don't care to use their third-party names after the introduction. Also, you may hear Finley screaming in the background because it's 20 minutes to feeding time and he is losing his mind. Here we have Craner and Tipper, and I actually, even after getting the full set, I think these 2 are probably my favorites out of the entire 6-spot team, especially Longhaul. I actually really like the way this guy works, both like for all of his different modes, and I just think he looks really cool. Now these are the, same kind of construction vehicles as Scrapper and Mixmaster in terms of like the colors and everything. It's primarily green, a little bit of purple, some silver, some gunmetal, some black, caution stripes in a few different places. With Longhaul you get a few more big obvious ones. He's decked out in various details. I also, much like the Gravity Builder / Jinbao oversized set, he comes with this little ladder here, right here, that is separate, and it does have to be put on, but it's actually a lot easier to figure this out because, well, one, I kind of figured because of the Gravity Builder / Jinbao set, obviously the ladder goes on the front, but also it's slotted in a way that it's very obvious how this is supposed to attach. So yeah, if you get this guy and there's just this ladder floating around, that's where it goes. Unfortunately, like most third-party dump trucks, most third-party long hauls, I should say, the actual bed doesn't move. The way it transforms just will not allow for that. I do not care, but I understand that it might be disappointing to some folks. I'm just not one of them. But yeah, it looks pretty good. The bed is actually a little bit more bed-like than the Gravity Builder / Jinbao sets. It's not like full and overflowing with robot bits this time around, which is nice. It's a good-looking dump truck. It's relatively clean, and the gun stores with no problem, just right down there. He rolls well. He's big. We'll look at him more later. Hook is same deal in that it's like kind of the same colors, lots of nice little detail all over the place. It's a little bit messy in some places, like up front here. These bits kind of stick off at kind of an awkward angle, but I like that they incorporate the lights in these, what are actually hinges. That's kind of neat. And you also have some caution striping and whatnot on the side. You got the detailing on the side of the crane and around back, taillights and whatnot. It rolls, and it's got the same kind of rubbery tires that the other guys have. And underneath here, you've got more weapon storage, so it hides away. And the crane does the thing. It can go up, it can rotate, and it can also extend a bit. And then the hook itself can move. So there are things you can do with this. Also, this is primarily for the Devastator combined mode, but there's this little bit right up here. You can kind of pop that up, swing it around, and give him like a cannon. So you can have the truck working like a tank almost. I don't know. It's a silly thing, but I appreciate that it's there. Also, I'm wondering if this is on like a... It is on another hinge. Okay, I was doing it wrong. So it doesn't just hinge up, it hinges around like this. That makes more sense. And now we will tuck this away again and look at it. Well, we can probably look at it in the robot mode. Push that back in, bring this back down, and yeah. I like Hook's design, pretty simple, but like I think this is actually, of all the different Hook figures that I've had, whether it's Unite Warriors or New Age or the Jinbao / Gravity Builder, this is actually, I think, my favorite rendition of Hook in terms of figure. Doesn't look geo-inaccurate, but that's not a problem for me. But yeah, there is Hook. So let's bring Long Haul back in here so you can see how the team is looking. Long Haul being Long Haul, he is of course the biggest of the bunch so far, which may not be accurate, but I don't care. Accuracy is overrated. Let's do some proper size comparisons. So here they are with the rest of the usual size comparisons. As you can see next to a standard deluxe, they are pretty big. The comparisons don't end there though, of course. Gotta do the Gravity Builder, well, Jinbao comparison here, and you can see stylistically there are a lot of similar notes in how these come together, like the broad stroke silhouette type stuff, but like they're very different aesthetics. They are also not quite the same size. Now again, this is an oversized knockoff, so the Gravity Builder set's going to be smaller than this, like the actual Generation Toy Gravity Builder set's going to be smaller than this, but these are a little bit bigger than these. The Unite Warriors set, it is kind of interesting just how much smaller Hook is than Hook, but how much larger Long Haul looks than Long Haul. Also, the greens, these are a lot more neon. It really makes me appreciate the more matte, kind of almost pastel muted greens that they used for this set. And finally, here they are with the Duck Tank. Alright, now before we turn these two into robots, I've got a coffee, I've got a Patreon, links to both at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Support would be much appreciated, but of course you could always like, comment, share, subscribe, that also helps out too. We'll start with Hook, because while I said and I maintain that this is probably my favorite version of Hook out of all the ones I've owned, I still think Long Haul is my favorite out of the entire team, so we're just going to start with Hook. And to begin, I'm going to just bring this up. These bits here kind of unplug from the silver bits and also unplug from the sides here. Pull this out, and once that's popped out, you can kind of fold it down and out of the way. Same deal here. Just pull this out, fold it down. The camera's facing me, I gotta remember that. I'm going to split the front here, and this is where things are a little bit, just a little bit Perfect Effect Grimlock, in that you've got these panels in here that need to get around things, but it's nowhere near as bad here as it is on that Grimlock. So basically you just want to pull this stuff up and out, and it kind of folds up and then swings out of the way, and it's not too bad, it's just a little bit cramped in there, so you fold all that up and out of the way. The legs actually hinge, so they hinge up and around like this, and there is a, see if I can get this to show up on camera, there's a tab on this little bit here that plugs into a little slot on the side of the leg there. So you get that plugged in, then this piece will swing around, also bring the hip out. So this swings around. You want to make sure that this is still held in place down here. So bring this around, this flips up, and then all of this will kind of tab together. There's a slot here that goes over another tab on this little bit here, and there's a slot here, or a tab here, that goes into this little opening in here. So it's just a lot of like lining things up, but get it lined up, push it all together, and that locks the leg in place. Then this swings around and we'll tab in right in here. And then for the foot, which is very simple, just take this little flap here, this pops out, swings around, and then this will now tab into the front here. So that tabs in, and then we wrestle out the feet, which is a little bit tricky to do. I end up having to like kind of use this little opening here to get things started. It's not too bad, it's loosened up a little bit since I first got the set, but it's a little bit annoying to have to do that. But you fold that out, and then you fold this piece out to make a heel, and that is one leg. And then of course the other leg is the same deal, just hinge this out and tab that in, bring this out and around. Try and get this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing here. Swing this around, and this will all kind of tab and lock into place. And doing this semi-blind is, like without looking at things, is a little bit tricky, but there it goes. Then this swings down, tabs in, this pops out, swings around. I'm really beginning to respect just how TFR Wilderness does this, because, like, my goodness, it is very difficult transforming something when what you need to move is not actually facing you. But there we go. There are legs, and you get ankle tilts, and everything's cool. Going to take the arms, and they kind of untab. You kind of want to pull down, because there's this little tab here, but there's also some tabs on the other sides of these grooves that are actually plugging up into this base here. So you want to pull down so you can untab everything. And once everything's untabbed, there you can see the two tabs that go up top. They do not go into these slots on the side here. There's actually, move this out of the way, there's these little tab slots right there that those plug into. But you bring that up. This panel here, this actually folds in, and then just rotate the arm, and that is one arm. And same deal here. Pull down to get all that done, swing it around, fold that flap in, rotate that, and there we go. And now this makes it really easy to grab the gun. That just pops out, tabs into this little slot there. There's like a little tab on either side, and to transform the gun, you just flip out the handle and then extend the barrel, and there is Hook's gun. Now for the last of it, I'm going to separate this section here, and I find it best to kind of bend it down because these bits here are on hinges, so that makes it easier to kind of get them out of the way, because you want to hinge things back like this, and then it's going to double hinge and accordion over itself. These will stay straight, but bending them helps to get them in place and out of place. So all that will hinge around. You want to do this before attaching all this. So this folds down, and the head, you just kind of push the head up. And now this can fold down the rest of the way. Like this, kind of get the head in place, and then you fold this back up a bit. Bring this in, tab the backpack together, bring this back down, and it'll go into these little slots on either side here. And then this just kind of folds in at a slight angle. And there is Hook. And we can actually leave this up. So we will leave it up for now. So there's Hook. We'll give him his gun. As you'd expect, it plugs into his hand. And yep, there is Hook. We will put him off to the side. And long haul. Okay, so to start, going to untab these flaps from the side here. They plug into a little, you can kind of see it on this side, there's this little panel that they plug into. So you want to pop that out, and then that just folds around. And again, pop that out, fold it around, and it does actually tab in. There's a this little slot here, tab right there, so that plugs in. Now, these will kind of slide, they just kind of slide up a little bit to loosen them up. These engine bits, the metallic engine bits, they are metal, they are die cast, they untab from the sides of the legs, and then once those are untabbed, the wheels untab from the side here as well. So there's the tab into the side, and this will all swing around. Again, with that untabbed, we can untab the wheel, and this will all swing around. Going to take the feet here, and they're actually hinges here. You want to kind of bring those back, which allow you to swing the feet around, like so. And it's not tricky, it's just a little nuanced, because when you're going into truck mode, I find it's easiest to have the feet kind of like this, then bring this up and start to move this joint, and just kind of feed it into that spot. And that gets it all situated for truck mode. But anyway, this swings around, sits in place. The knees have to bend 2 clicks to transform. And actually, I think we're going to split the legs before we do all that. So split the legs, they just tab together as you would expect, and now we can get the gun out of here. I'll show from this angle. There's just this little flap that's kind of covering it up, but the gun just slides in there. There's like a little tab on the back there and a little slot in there that it tabs into. So that's gun off to the side. Now, straighten out the legs, and when you bend the knees for this, it's 2 clicks. So just remember, if the legs are straight, you do 2 clicks, and that puts everything in the perfect position because you want these to be in a specific location for when this metal piece swings around and tabs in. So do that. I screwed up. Okay, you don't actually tab these pieces in. That is for the combine mode. So instead, this swings around and the big chunky tab here now tabs into the back of the leg. And this piece just kind of fills in the gap on the back of the leg, which I think is nice. So anyway, we've done that on one side. We're not going to do it on the other because there's no room, because I still have to do more stuff. I'm sorry, this is a mess. Wheels, untab. There's this tiny little purple tab here that tabs into the side up here. Can't even like show it. There's like a little tab slot in there on the green piece, but this untabs, and once that's untabbed, it also tabs in down here. So this whole assembly untabs. There's a kind of a chunky tab in here that tabs into the base here. So this all comes up and around. This will now fold in on itself and just kind of sit like this for now. Take the upper body, and this will swing down. And with that done, can separate the legs and tab this piece in. So there we have that. Now, with this up and out of the way, rotate. No. Going to swing this out of the way. I am all over the place. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, we do want to rotate some stuff. So, kind of get this up and out of the way. Get this up and out of the way. It's on a double hinge. Now we can rotate the waist piece around like this. And this can kind of rotate back down for now. So it's this piece right here. The whole front just rotates. So with that done, now this can hinge back down. We can start undoing the arms. There's actually this piece right here. It kind of tabs in to this piece here. So you want to untap it, and then this hinges up on a double hinge. It just kind of sits like that. So again, kind of untab it, hinge it up. Now the arms will kind of unconnect from here. It's a little awkward, this part, especially going into truck mode, but those untab and come up. And now there are these panels on the insides of the arms that fold out, swing around, and tab in to fill in the bottoms of the forearms. I kind of like that. Now these untab from this center piece and swing down and out. Untab, swing down. And now this is going to be the front of the robot. So this swings around, bring the biceps around. This piece on the back folds up, and there are these slots here that go over these green tabs here, and that plugs in like that. You want to take the wheels and bring them out a little bit, because once this is tabbed in, this panel swings around, and this gap here is going to go over the purple piece. So as this swings up, it comes around that purple piece, and that brings up Longhaul's head. And then once this is in place, these little bits come in and they actually tab over this little green bar here to help hold that in place. It's actually pretty clever how this works. To finalize everything, we take this piece, raise it up, and it kind of tabs in there. These pieces swing around and tab in to the front, and then these pieces swing in kind of under the arms and finish off the chest. And that is Long Haul, and that is a cool transformation that is way easier and more fun to do when you're not like facing the camera. Take his gun, put it in his hand. There we go. So here we have Hook and Long Haul together, and I really like how this set is looking. I mean, I like how it looks because I have the full set, but like this is really cool. As I said, I think this is one of the neatest renditions of Hook that I've encountered. And one of the things with me is that he's just not fiddly. Like a lot of the other hooks that I've had in the past are kind of fiddly. I don't like fiddly hooks. And this guy, way less, if not fiddly at all, aside from like if you're rotating the arm, if you're not careful, you can disconnect the torso, but mine at least, it actually stays tabbed in pretty well. Like you can see, like I'm not holding anything. It's like it's not coming out. I really like the aesthetic of this set. I said that before. Hook is really cool. Long Haul is exceptionally cool, but we will look at him in a minute. So Hook looks pretty much like Hook. He's got the big chunky shins because that's where the entirety of his cab is. He's got the wheels in his arms, all that stuff. But I do like how this guy comes together. I also like how they actually use part of the combiner head for his midsection detailing. Like that piece right in there, that black piece with a little bit of silver, that is the Devastator head. It's just in there. And I feel like if you don't know to look for it, you're not really going to realize that's what it is, and that's very cool. Oh, also, let's just show this off real quick. There's the, come on. There we go. It's a cat butt magnet. But, yep, he does the light up eyes thing, which is very cool. There we go. Nope. Off. There we go. They all do the light up eyes thing. I like this. I like how they gave him these like big beefy gauntlets for his arms. I think that's neat. The detailing is cool. I'm noticing some paint scratches on mine after transformation. Like there's some paint scratches in the shoulder there, and I was noticing on Bone Crusher and Scavenger, which we'll see next time, that the treads, the paint on there is scratching a little bit, but like, I don't care. For the price, I think it's fine. But like this, I just really like this aesthetic. It's kind of, this to me almost feels like it's refining the design approach of the Generation Toy Gravity Builder set, where it's like, it's definitely going off script, but in a way that's really interesting and cool. And it just kind of gives them, I don't know, maybe like slightly anime vibes. Maybe I just really like the detailing on here. Like look at look at Hook's hips. Look at the detailing and like the color separation that they've got going between like the silver and the gunmetal. That's really cool. Everything fills in. You've got these panels that fold around to fill in the insides of the legs, and parts of it are even like up here. Parts of it are even painted. The bit back here, that's like just the base on the top of the vehicle mode that's like painted in. The back and underside of the crane painted. It's very cool how they did all the stuff with this. I also just think his torso looks neat. And as you might expect, the crane arm can swing all the way around. It even has, this is primarily for Devastator, but it has this little blue thing that you can fold out, and it acts as like a little targeting reticle. Get the cannon out of there again, because we saw this before, but this hinges up, plugs in, and can swing that back around. And now Hook is just like he's gonna blast some fools. I don't know, I just think this is really neat. And if you wanted to, you could swing it around so that it comes out from under his arm. It's not as, it's a little awkward this way, because it doesn't come down all the way in the back because of everything else going on, but I still think it's cool that you can do that. Hook's head is about, I think, what you'd expect from this. It's very recognizable as Hook, but it's also still very stylized. He's got that kind of weird thing going on up top. It looks cool. I like the stylization. I like the silver face, the red eyes, all that stuff. I am tempted to kind of go in there and paint the visors, just because I don't think I'm going to use the lights all that often, but that's something for future Rob to deal with. Now for articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so it does do some pretty nice tilt, some okay up and down, and it does rotate, but the chin kind of knocks into, or rather the sides of the head really kind of knock into the shoulder sections around here. He starts to look up as you turn the head enough, but hey, it's less restricted than the New Age version. The shoulders go all the way around, and they are a little bit weird because you've got outward joints there, but also here. So it's got two completely separate in and out joints. And some of that is like too, this stuff up here kind of clashes into the body because the arms don't come out very far. And if you bring them out a little bit, then the rotation is at a weird angle because now the rotation is like down here, kind of angled in. If you want it straight, they're out like that, and then you kind of bring these in, and it's a little bit awkward. But you do get bicep rotation, you get over 90 degrees of elbow bend. You also, you do get wrist swivel, but you kind of don't. Because as you can see, like, you can rotate the wrist a little bit, but it doesn't really go anywhere because this panel is in the way. That said, the panel is not glued in, so you can pop it off and then more freely rotate the fist however you want. But that is a thing that it does, and it's just these little tabs here, slots there, and that just pegs on. It pegs on securely, but yeah, you can't do too much with the wrist. However, he does have a waist swivel, and you kind of want to like flip this up to get more range out of it. Problem I'm running into, this is a thing that was a problem before, these hip skirts, if you don't have them angled a certain way, they get in the way of the waist rotation, which is very annoying. But he does get a pretty wild waist rotation. It can go all the way around. It, like, this piece just misses the hips, so it can go all the way around, but these hip skirts, as I said, they get in the way if you're not careful. Speaking of, the hip skirt out of the way, and the hip can go forward to past 90. These are friction, by the way. They're fine, but they're friction. But go past 90, can go back not quite to 90. The in and out is ratcheted, so that can go out a little bit past 90. You get thigh rotation. You get a very clicky knee that bends to 90. And as mentioned before, you do get ankle tilts, despite how this all comes together. You don't want to push too far because there's this going on up in here, so this will crash into there, and you do not want to force it after that, otherwise you might snap something. But that's pretty decent. And then you can also use the heel and the toe if you want to angle those. And if you really wanted to, you could untab the foot for some outward ankle tilt, but the problem is this lower hinge is very loose. So you can use the upper hinge though. But yeah, it's you pretty much just rely on it for the inner rotation. So that is Hook's Articulation. Long haul, my favorite. I really like how this guy comes together. I really like the transformation. I like the fact that this is something that was mentioned with Mixmaster and Scrapper. It continues here, how this set does the Devastator thing, and it's all built in. Aside from the weapons, it's all built in. So like this clump on Longhaul's back, that is the Devastator chest piece. We'll see that when we get to the combine mode in a couple more videos, but yeah, that's super cool. And despite having a built-in Devastator chest piece, it incorporates itself really well into the robot. Like, yeah, he has a little bit of a backpack, but it's long haul, and it's a little bit of a backpack. It's not that bad. This thing cleans up very nicely for what it is. And it's incorporated into the vehicle mode, so it doesn't like get in the way there. It's actually really clever how this all works. I really like it. And I forgot to do one final thing for the transformation. This panel here, actually. There. Sorry about that. Love the look, love the aesthetic, love the color breakup that they did here. There's lots of stuff going on down here. I also love how this does something similar to the Generation Toy version with these rotating panels with like the wheels and stuff. Like the wheels back here, but the wheels tab into the backs of the legs, so these don't move around at all when you're in robot or combine mode. They actually lock in. That's something that always bugged me about the Generation Toy design. I love the proportions on this guy. He's like bulky, but in a way that works. I like the asymmetrical shoulders, and I also really love how this chest works, because as weird as it is to say, this is Devastator's crotch. It's the hip skirt, the front hip skirt section of the robot swings up, of the combined mode, swings up to become Long Haul's chest, and it works as a chest. It's really, really cool how it did that. I don't know. I really like the way that they handled Long Haul's transformation in all of his different modes. And again, I really like this robot mode. It is my favorite of the set. The head is very Long Haul. It's just like a silver bonbon. I really like the design of this. It's like got some nice sculpting to it along the sides, but it's still very much Long Haul. It's just a big silver dome with an angry looking visor in it. And he does do the light up thing quite well. So there is that. Come on, turn off. Turn off. And yeah, I really like this design for Long Haul. Now for the articulation, as you saw, the head is on a ball joint, so it does get some really nice forward and backward tilt and some decent up and down, but the rotation side to side is a bit lacking because of the structure going on here. But like it's enough. His shoulders have a similar jointing system to Hook, so you've got one joint here, but then a secondary joint above that. And so in conjunction, you can get the arms out all the way. But of course, if you're not careful, that ends up doing weird things with where the actual shoulder joints are. But the shoulders can swing forward and around. They can't go around all the way because of how all of this is jointed. It just it's going to hit into the backpack, but I feel like you can go back around enough. I don't think that's too big a problem. You also get bicep rotation, elbows that bend well past 90. They can also bend slightly back because of the transformation. You get unobstructed wrist swivels, so that is nice. You also get a waist rotation that, surprisingly, it is actually impeded by this thing back here. And you can kind of flex it past, but it doesn't feel good to do, so not gonna be doing that. However, you get really nice clicky, very clicky outward that goes quite far because of actually the nature of the combined mode, which we'll see in a future video. You get front and back. The front can go maybe a little bit past 90 and back not quite to 90 because of this thing back here. You do get thigh rotation. Weirdly, it kind of locks going in one direction on this hip, but like it can go all the way around if you do it the other way. So I think it's just something with like the molding that it just catches here, but it, as I showed, you can still go all the way around. And then you get the knee bend, which is 90 degrees, very clicky. And you get ankle tilts. It's actually quite a bit of ankle tilts, and you can also use the foot to go down because of the flap there. You can't really go forward, but still, I think this guy's posability is pretty solid, and his look is extremely solid. He is very cool. I like Long Haul quite a bit. All right, let's get situated for size comparisons. So yeah, zoomed out a bit. Here we have all of our regular size comparisons, and once again, you can see these guys are pretty big. I'd say roughly modern leader-ish size, roughly. Here they are with the rest of the team so far, Mixmaster and Scrapper, and they're all pretty much the same height. Mixmaster looks taller because of his cement mixer in the back there, but yeah, they're pretty much all within the same height. So I kind of like how Long Haul is beefier, but he's not taller than anyone else. So it's not like the Combiner Wars Unite Warriors thing where you've got 5 guys that are roughly the same height and then one guy who's absolutely gigantic. Now it's like they're all about the same size, but just very different builds. Here they are with their oversized Gravity Builder counterparts. So they're roughly the same height, roughly. Hook is Mecha Invasion Hook is a little bit taller than the oversized Gravity Builder Hook, but I think the 2 Long Hauls are about the same height, at least from where I'm sitting. It might even be that this Long Haul is ever so slightly taller than this one, but just slightly. And I gotta say, as much as I really like the aesthetic for the Gravity Builder team, I think I really prefer this aesthetic even more, which sounds blasphemous of me, I know. Of course, we got to do the Unite Warriors / Combiner Wars thing, and so here are Hook and Long Haul with Hook and Long Haul, and once again, Hook is very tiny compared to his buddy and his counterpart here. But like even the overly beefy Long Haul that didn't quite fit size-wise with everyone else in Combiner Wars and Unite Warriors, even he's actually smaller than this guy. Proportionally, he is also a bit dumpier, but I still think this is a fun for what it is Long Haul. And at long last, here they are with the Duck Tank. And that does it for Mecha Invasion Hook and Long Haul. As I said, my favorite 2-pack out of the entire team so far. Well, actually out of the entire team, because I do have Bone Crusher and Scavenger. I just didn't have it in me to do a 4-bot video with all the different comparisons and stuff like that. So we will be saving that for the next video. I like them quite a bit. This is a cool set. I've said this before with Mixmaster and Scrapper, but it just having the remaining 2 sets really drives home the point to me that like the amount of money that you're paying compared to what you're getting, both in terms of not just size, because I think, oh, you're paying not a lot of money for something big doesn't really mean much if the big thing you're getting sucks. But these do not suck. These are awesome. And so having something this cool that is also this size for basically less than, actually basically nothing. It's like these guys individually, if you break it down, like yeah, you get them in a 2-pack, but if you break it down, individually these guys cost about like between a Voyager and a Leader in terms of price each. That's a really cool, like I think any one of these guys would be a fun standalone figure, but having like the whole team and everything is great, and like the full Combiner team comes together for not a lot of money, all things considered, especially for a third-party thing, so it's very cool. But we will get to the Combiner later. For now, though, these guys, awesome, love them. A little limited in posability, but I don't really care. And some paint scratching, but again, whatever. It makes them look a little bit more weathered, I think it's fine. As per usual, feel free to let me know what you think of these 2 or the entire set, how they compare, all that stuff. You can chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you again for watching, and I will be saying words at you about Bone Crusher and Scavenger next time.